Hello and welcome to our first tutorial video on uTomate. In this video I'm going to show you how you can fully automate the build process of a Unity project with uTomate. All you need to do is get a copy of uTomate from the Unity Asset Store and take about 15 minutes of your time, a coffee break, to set this up. I've prepared a small demo project here, and there are two scenes in this project. And for each of the scenes I would like to build the light mapping, the occlusion culling, the navigation path meshes, and once I've done that, I would like to add each of the scenes to Unity's build settings, so up here, and then I would like to build a player for Windows and a player for Mac OS X. When you do this with Unity alone, it's a lot of clicking, but with uTomate it gets a whole lot easier. First, everything that you can automate with uTomate is an action. And uTomate comes with about 20 actions that you can find in this Create menu. So you right click on a folder, click Create, uTomate, and then you see all the actions that are available. Let's start with the Bake Light Maps action. I've created the action now, and you can see in the inspector that this action has a whole lot of properties. These properties basically match up everything that you can find in Unity's built-in dialog. There's also a button down here which you can use to load the settings from Unity's dialog, so you don't need to copy these over manually. For this project, since it's not a tutorial about light mapping, I will just be using the default settings. Now let's create a second action, and let's build occlusion culling. This basically works the same way that the build light maps action is working. So you get some properties, and these properties match up what's in Unity's built-in dialog. Building the navigation path meshes is basically the same thing. I will create a new action for that, bake nav mesh, and you can again see all the properties that are in the inspector match up the properties of Unity's built-in dialog. So now I've created all the baking operations, and I would like to add the scenes to the build settings. There's again an action for this, so I go the same way, create uTomate, set build scenes. So this action probably needs some explanation. It has it's basically working on a file set. And the file set consists of includes and excludes. So when I want to add every scene in my project to the scenes, to Unity's build scenes, then I can simply click the add button here and type the name of the scene into that. So that would be demo project 04 scenes, my scene 1.unity. And for the second scene, I can simply copy that, my scene 2.unity. Now you probably see that this approach doesn't scale up very well when you have a lot of scenes in your project. So there's a better way of doing that, and that is wildcards. So let's just clean this up and delete the second one, and use a wildcard for that. A wildcard allows you to use basically stars to match up 4 paths in your project. So if I just type /star.unity, this will basically grab all the scenes in my project. And now you can see how the excludes part comes in here. So this grabs all scenes in your project, and maybe there are some scenes that you don't want to add to your build scenes. And with the excludes part, you can exclude them, basically. The excludes part also supports wildcards, so it's very flexible. So now I have set up my build scenes, so I can start building a player. Let's start with the Windows player. Again, using the right-click menu, create uTomate, build Unity player, allows me to create an action for building a player. This action has quite a lot of settings. These again match the settings that are in Unity's built-in dialog for building players. And let's start with the Windows Player first. Well, let's rename this to Build Windows Player. And let's use the target platform, that is standalone Windows. Now there's a setting here which allows me to take the scenes from the settings. So the scenes I've just set up in the Set Scenes action will be used for building this player if I tick this checkbox, and this is just what I want. Usually you want to do this because then you can set the scenes up once and use multiple build player actions to build multiple players using the same scenes. But it's also possible to set the scenes up directly in these actions. Again, for this action I will just use the scenes from the settings. I won't go over all the details in this action here. The most important action is probably the output file name. This is where I want to save the final player. I can use the select icon here to quickly select an output path. I want to put this into Documents and create a new folder for that and call it My Players. And I create another new folder called Windows. And then I can set the player name, maybe just call it My Player. Usually when you build for a certain environment or a certain target platform, the player has a special extension for that platform. So when you build a Windows player, the player's extension is .exe, and when you build a Mac player, the player's extension is .app. You can add this basically here. Maybe I just type .exe, that would be okay. But if you want to reuse an action, there's a simpler way of doing that, and it's just ticking this checkbox, Add Platform Extension. This will automatically add the right extension for the target platform that is set up here. Now, building the Windows player is done, and I can start building the Mac player. I'll basically duplicate this action and rename it, Build Mac Player. And I change the target platform to OS X Intel. And I change the path here and I just remove the Windows part and type Mac. So you can see you don't need to create these folders beforehand. uTomate will automatically create folders if they're not existing. And that is true for basically every action. So now I have created all the actions that I need to automate what I have said I want to automate at the start of this video. But there's something missing. I don't have an order yet. I can't say that I want to bake the light maps first and the navigation mesh after this, and so on and so on. And you do that by adding an automation plan. An automation plan basically allows you to set up an order for all the actions that you have created. And it also has some powerful things like loopings or decisions that can be used to build really sophisticated builds. So I just created an automation plan, and I will rename this to maybe Build My Project. And now I want to edit this automation plan. You can see there's it has a very simplified inspector. That is because there's a specialized editor for automation plans coming with uTomate. You can open this up by using the window menu, going to uTomate and selecting Automation Plan Editor. This will open up this window down here. To load an automation plan into the plan editor, you just drag it onto the plan selector up here. So this plan is basically empty, so there's nothing in here. And now we can add actions to this automation plan. To add an action, you just click on an action and drag it right into the automation plan editing area. That is the gray area down here. So I've added the Bake Light Maps action, and I will also be adding the Bake Navigation Mesh action. And I will also be adding the Bake Occlusion Culling action. Every action in the plan editor has some connector that is named Next Entry. This is telling uTomate which action you want to run after the action. So I want to bake the light maps first, and bake the navigation mesh afterwards, and bake the occlusion culling afterwards. So I just connect these by dragging a connector from one action to the next one. So let's smooth this up a bit. By now you've probably noticed that there's something missing. And that is, when you want to bake anything in Unity, you have to open the scene that you want to bake first. So all the bake operations just work on the currently open scene. So just adding these actions here is not enough. We need to open the scene, then do all the baking, and then save our changes and open the next scene. To do this, there's a special node or a special node in this editor, and you can access this all the special nodes that are available in the editor by right-clicking somewhere in the gray area. I do this, and you see in a context menu all the special nodes that are available. I use the for each file node because this node basically allows you to run a part of your automation plan for a set of files. So the set of files would probably just be the scenes that I have in my project. And you can see here on the right side that there's an inspector for this node where I can set up for which files I want to repeat a part of my automation plan. This is again using a file set, something that we have talked about in the set scenes action already. This works basically just the same way. So I will add an include and select all the scenes by using the same wildcard that I used in the set scenes action, the */start.unity. So now this node is properly set up and will run or will repeat something or a part of my automation plan for every scene in my project. Now we need to open a scene, and to open a scene there's another action that's called, you would have guessed it, open scene. So I create this action, and you can see it just has a single property, and that is the scene that you want to open. Now we want to use this in our automation plan, in our for each file loop. So basically I want to open the scene that is currently being used by the for each file node. So the for each file node first opens my scene 1, and then second opens my scene 2, and I always want to open the scene that this node is currently using. So how do I do that? You do that with runtime properties. This is some real powerful construct that's built into uTomate, and which allows you to communicate certain properties from one node to another. The for each file node allows you to set a property each time it's using a new file. So I name this. You can name this property here in the inspector, and I name this maybe current scene. Now I need to reference this property in my open scene action. And just typing current scene in here won't work because that would search for a scene named open scene, and this is not working. You can do that by using a thing called expression mode. Every property can either be typed in right now, or you can type in an expression that references something else. So I want to reference this current scene property down here, and I switch this property to expression mode. And to reference another property, I just type $, and the name of the property, that is current scene. So now this action will open the scene that this node is currently working on. Let's add this to the build. I put it in here. That is great. What's missing is saving the scene after I've done all the baking operations here. So I will create another action called save scene. At this action works on the scene that is currently open, so I don't need to do any connecting with properties here. I can just drag this into my automation plan. I put it down here. Let's scroll a bit down. So now I've set up the complete bake cycle. I open the scene, I do all the baking, I save the scene. And since I want to repeat this for all the scenes in my project, I just drag the connector starter subtree to this. And so this node will repeat this part of the tree for every scene in the project. So that would be doing the baking operations. And after I've done all the baking operations, I can set up my build scenes. So I use the set scenes node that I created earlier and connect this in here. And I use the build players. So I build the Mac player after I've set the scenes, and I build the Windows player. That would basically be it. The automation plan is just ready now. There's one thing missing, and that is I need to tell uTomate which node it should start on. You've probably already noticed that there's a blue stripe in here on the Bake Light Maps node. This blue stripe indicates which node is considered as the first node. I don't want this Bake Light Maps node to be the first node, but I want the for each file node to be the first node. To change this, you just right click on the node and select Set as First Node. So now this node is running as the first node of my automation plan. Now my automation plan is ready and I can start running it. There are two ways of running this automation plan. The first way is just using the Run This Plan action that is, or the Run This Plan button that is right here in the lower right corner of the plan editor. The second way is using the uTomate main window. You can access the main window by clicking on Window, uTomate, Main Window. And this will open this small window down right here. You can see that this window contains a list of plans that are currently part of your project. So I select the plan that I want to run and then just say Run Plan. And if I've not made a mistake, it's going to build my plan right now. You can see that the currently running action is highlighted in the node editor. And you can also see that there's some progress bar showing in the main window, which tells you for how long this plan has been running and what it's currently doing. When you run a plan a second time, uTomate knows how long this plan took the last time and can also tell you a prediction of how long it will take until the plan is finished. Our plan is finished now and it has built in about 20 seconds. Now let's check if all our players materialized. I open the Finder and I go to Documents, My Players, and you can see there's a Mac folder in here which contains the Mac player and a Windows folder which contains the Windows player. So this basically wraps up this video. We've seen that you can easily create a full automation of all your Unity projects just within a coffee break. I would also like to add that everything that we just built right now, all the actions and the automation plan can be checked into version control. So you can share the automation plan that you just created with your whole team and everyone can profit from this and build a project real quick. I've also just shown you a very small subset of all the features that uTomate provides. There's a whole lot more to uTomate. For example, you can build Unity packages, you can build DLLs without using Visual Studio. There's also support for continuous integration systems, so you can run and build a project from your Jenkins or TeamCity or whatever you're using, and much, much more. All of the features are documented at our website. That's www.ancientlightstudios.com/uTomate. I hope you liked this video, and if you want to use uTomate for your project, you can buy a license from the Unity Asset Store. Now, my coffee break is over, so I gotta get back to work. I'm uTomate, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.